As Pardeep said, my name is Kristi Gauvin, and I'm an application consultant here at BAS Business Solutions. Welcome to the BAS Connect presentation for how to process your bank reconciliations. For today's agenda, I'll be reviewing the following items: general Sage 300 transaction flow and how that can affect your bank reconciliation, control accounts. I'll be jumping right into my test environment to show you what a bank reconciliation looks like and how to process, how to clear transactions, balancing to the GL, posting, reporting, and then finally, bank reconciliation in Webscreens. First, let me start by showing you this flow of what entries look like in Sage. You'll notice in my chart that all roads lead to the general ledger, but no transactions move from the general ledger into the subledgers. This is important to note because if you put a transaction into any subledger, they will flow in through to bank services and then to the GL, but nothing flows from the GL out. If you put a journal entry directly into your bank's GL account in the GL module, that will never hit your bank and will not show up in your bank reconciliation. If you want to be able to reconcile the amount and it's not a payable or receivables amount, you need to record it as a bank entry rather than a journal entry. Now, let me jump into my test environment to show you bank reconciliation. First, let me show you in Common Services, under Bank Services, there's an icon called Banks. And my bank has been set up to GL account 1020. So that is the bank account that will be associated with it. I also have a write-off account of 6110 for bank charges and errors, and also a charges account. Because of this, anything processed through the bank hits the GL. You may also want to note on the profile tab that I have an error or write-off spread of $1. So anything less than $1, a difference between what the bank has, the actual physical bank, and what I'm showing in Sage will go to the write-off account. Anything less than $1. Anything more than that will be considered an error. If you navigate to the account in the general ledger, you'll see there's an option to make it a control account. We always suggest that GL accounts associated with banks be set as a control account. This prevents you from accidentally posting something directly into the GL's bank account, which would put your bank out of balance with your GL account. This can be toggled on and off if the need arises, but in general, it should be kept as a control account. If I click on control account, you'll notice up here a new tab will appear that says subledger. In the subledger tab, you'll want to go in and outline any subledgers that you want to have access to post into your GL account. So in this area, you would put AP, AR, and bank services. Beyond that, if you have payroll or inventory, you can add those modules as well. You would never want to include GL in here because the point of making it a GL control account is that you don't post anything directly into this account from the GL ledger. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save here. Now, for the part that you've been waiting for, we're going to actually dive into the reconciliation screen. So again, under Common Services, Bank Services, Bank Transactions, you'll have an icon called Reconcile Statements. The bank that I'm going to be reconciling, the bank code for it is CCB, and I'm actually going to be reconciling April of 2020, just because that's what I have in my test environment. So we'll go April 2020 bank reconciliation. On the left-hand side, this is the information that you're going to put in that you've received from your bank. So you would look at your bank statement, and the statement date is April 30th, and the amount on your bank statement. So in my scenario, my bank statement has $8,000 exactly. On the right-hand side, you'll want to match the date to your statement date so that it will, your entries that you're looking at match the entries that should be on your statement. When it comes to posting your bank reconciliation, you can choose to post as often as you want. Most people choose monthly and some choose weekly. Just know that once you post a period, you cannot repost it, reverse it, or post to an earlier date. They need to be posted in chronological order. You can start working on it, however, and just not post it, just save it. So each day, if you want to go in and reconcile and save, reconcile, save, and then at the end of the month, review everything, and then you can post it. Okay, so now I'm going to compare what's in my bank statement, the details of my bank statement, with the reconciliation tab. There are a few fields that I want to talk about in this tab for you. First field is the display field. Here you can choose to show all of your transactions, only outstanding transactions, or only reconciled transactions. Right now, I'm going to choose all, but if I were to choose only my reconciled transactions, you'll see that I haven't reconciled anything as of yet. If you do update this on a daily basis and save, but only post at the end of the month, you may choose to only show outstanding transactions so that as you reconcile them, they're off your screen and it'll shorten your list for you. The next one I want to show you is transaction type. Here you can choose either withdrawals or deposits if you want to be able to reconcile them separately. Some bank statements do separate the withdrawals from the deposits, so some people find that more easy. The third option is your sort by. Here you can choose to sort by either date or number. The number is the number that you see listed here. For quick clearing, you can choose to clear several transactions at once. So here I can mark all my withdrawals as cleared from a certain transaction number to another transaction number. I can then go in and do the same for my deposits. All this does is put the X, change it from outstanding to reconciled and puts the X in the reconciled column. You can also, if you've gotten all mixed up with your reconciliation and want to start fresh, you can go in here and change anything that you had already reconciled back to outstanding by using this quick clear process as well. So you could start fresh. Now I want to talk about the different reconciliation statuses that you can choose. So on my screen, I'm going to make it a little larger. You'll notice the columns that are here, your date, your number, description. This says reconciled, make it a little bit bigger. Your withdrawals, your deposits, your cleared amount, the difference. And here is the status, the reconciliation status. So in this column, you have a few different options. One is outstanding, one is cleared. If I click on cleared and tab out, you'll notice an X goes into this column. You can also choose, if it's outstanding, to just go right into the reconciled column and either double click, which makes it cleared, or you can hit your space bar, which also puts the X in that column. So there are a few different options on how to clear a transaction from your reconciliation. There are other options such as clear with a bank error. If you're clearing with a bank error, when you post the reconciliation, the error is carried forward as an outstanding transaction for the next reconciliation. The totals tab of the reconcile statement screen shows the total amount of deposit errors for the current reconciliation. On the reconciliation status report, a deposit bank error appears. In the deposit section, it will increase the bank balance when it's corrected, and such errors include deposits that cleared the bank for an amount less than the actual amount, payments and withdrawals that cleared the bank for an amount greater than the actual amount. In the withdrawal section, it will reduce the bank balance when it's corrected. Such errors include deposits that cleared the bank for more than the actual amount. So that's your first option. Your next option is to clear with write-off. It will only allow you to choose that if the amount of difference is within the spread that you've chosen in the bank account. So just keep that in mind. If it's above that, it will automatically switch to bank error for you. And then the last one that I wanted to talk about was to clear with an exchange rate difference. This will only appear if you are using multi-currency and your bank is a multi-currency bank. And then the last one is to reconcile by deposit detail. Now for the reconcile by deposit detail, I'm going to refer to my notes. I'm going to look at number 12 in here. So this one actually has 2 entries in this batch that are equal $1,006.24, but the bank has actually only cleared one of those 2. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to switch this to reconcile by deposit detail. And down here in my detail button, I can see both of the entries. And in my scenario, only the 734.64 has cleared. The other one is outstanding. So I'm going to want to put 734.64 as the cleared amount. I'm clearing this, but I'm leaving this outstanding. I hit save here, close this screen. You'll now see that the deposit is this amount, this is the amount I cleared, and this is the difference between the 2. And that will carry forward to a future reconciliation. I'm actually not going to do that in this case, so I'm going to go ahead and put this back to outstanding. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and look at my reconciliation and put X's next to the items that match my bank reconciliation. So in this case, I see this on my statement, see these 4 on my statement. This one is not on there, so this one is, this one is, this one is, this one is. And then we'll drop down to 16 and 17. So here you'll see these are all the ones that were on my statement. And you'll notice down in the right-hand corner, I'm still out of balance by $12.98. I can also see this on my summary page that I'm out of balance by $12.98. You cannot post your bank reconciliation. You can never post it without the balance being 0. If you're not sure where this $12.98 is coming from, this is a good time to show you that you can go to File, Print. I'm going to say yes to save my changes thus far. And here you can print your bank reconciliation status report. So you just enter the bank code in here. Transaction dates, I'm going to put up till April 20th. So April 30th of 2020. And print. You don't need to do this step. I just want to show you that it's available. Sometimes when you're comparing a physical piece of paper statement, it's nice to have 2 next to each other to highlight as you're comparing side by side. So this will show you the transaction amount, the cleared amount, the outstanding amount for each of these. In my case, this $12.98 was actually a bank charge that was put in. So it didn't come in through AP or AR. The bank's just charging me that amount for as a bank charge. So while I'm in this bank reconciliation screen, I can go directly into my bank entry and I can create an entry for that bank charge. So in my case, I'm going to say bank charges for April 2020. I'm going to go find my bank account. That's for bank charges. So I'm going to contains, I have one that's called charges in here. I think it's 6110. There we go. And my amount is $12.98. So I can go, oh, and my date. Don't forget to make your date match. That's very important. So now my bank I have a bank entry for bank charges on April 20th, and I'm going to go ahead and hit add. And then I can also post from here. Once I've done that, you'll see that it appears on my screen here, and I can go ahead and reconcile that. And now I'm no longer out of balance. In my summary tab, I'm no longer out of balance. I want to take a minute to talk to you about what reports are available in Sage. If you go under your bank transaction reports, a good rule of thumb is that the first 4 reports are good to run before you post your reconciliation. The ones afterwards, your bank reconciliation posting journal, those are good for after you've posted your reconciliation. Through the month, if you're not in your reconciliation, but you become aware of a bank charge, you can also navigate directly into your bank transactions bank entry screen. This pulls up the same screen that I when I clicked on bank entry in the reconciliation tab. So you can also do it there as well. Also, if you're going to be transferring between 2 different banks that you have set up in Sage, don't do it as a journal entry. Come in here and do your bank transfer to move that from one to the other so that your reconciliation screens will also show that you've made that transfer as well. Another thing to note is when you run your bank reconciliation posting journal, once you've cleared a report, you cannot reprint it. So you may want to keep that as unchecked for clear all of your reports. I'm going to go back into my bank reconciliation. You can also go into your book balance zoom to be sure that your book balance and your GL match each other as well. I'm going to go ahead and post my bank reconciliation. Once I've posted my bank reconciliation, I'm going to want to navigate into my transaction reports and print my bank reconciliation report. So from bank code CCB to bank code CCB and print. This gives you a snapshot of what happened in this moment. These are good reports to keep on hand if ever you were to lose all of your data for some reason. Then you would be able to rebuild some of the history in the system. So this shows you your summary screen, and then it also shows you what deposits and withdrawals were outstanding at the time that you posted your bank reconciliation. 2 things I want to talk about right now. 2 reasons, the 2 main reasons we get people calling for help because their bank reconciliation is, and 2 of the issues that come up are 1, the journal entries being posted directly into the GL for your bank account. That's 1 issue that can put you out of balance. Another issue can be when you reverse transactions in your bank. So if you've made a payment and it got rejected by the bank, and so you need to reverse it, or a receipt that you need to reverse, you'll want to come in here to do your reversal. But when you do your reversal, you'll want to make sure, let me just pick a payment, that your reversal date matches your payment date. If it's in a different month, it will remain outstanding until that month comes along, and then you'll be able to do it. But that can put you off balance because it'll show that it was reversed at the bank in April, and it won't be reversed at your bank until the date that you posted it. So it's a good rule of thumb is to always switch your reversal date to match your payment date. Now, the last thing I want to show you is a demonstration of our bank screen, our web screens. So in here, I'm going to go ahead and log into the same bank in Webscreens and just kind of show you what this looks like as well. I won't go through the whole process, but I'll just point out some differences. So the first difference you'll notice is rather than being under Common Services, Bank Services has its own name in the list. So you don't go under Common Services and then Bank Services, you just go directly into Bank Services. In Bank Services, again, you can go into Bank Transactions and then Reconcile Statements. I'll pull up that screen. Here you would still put your bank code in. And one thing I want to show you, let's just go. Oops. If you go into your reconciliation tab in this area, unlike your desktop where you can go into the reconciled column and double click or press your spacebar to put the X in, that doesn't work in this area. So you'll want to scroll to the right, go to your reconciliation status and change it to cleared. And you'll notice when you change it to cleared, there will be a check mark will appear here. But you do have to physically go in and change the reconciliation status as you go along. But the rest of it works exactly the same way as it did on the desktop. You'll see there's a summaries tab, a reconciliation tab. You also have an option to do your bank entry directly from here. And you can change your display for outstanding, withdrawals versus deposits, and sort by date or number. So if you're starting to use reconciliation in Sage for the first time in a long time, some cleanup will be necessary. To bring everything up to date, we at BAS can help with this process. If you've never used bank reconciliation before, you can reach out to our support team or your account manager. So your help options are available on the screen right now. You can email support@bas.com, or you can call our toll-free number, which is 1-877-462-3648, or you can contact your account manager directly. And they can make the arrangements to have someone scheduled to work with you to get everything started. So I do see there are a couple of questions here in the chat. One of them is, can you reverse or revise a bank reconciliation once it's been posted? No, there's no way to reverse or revise a bank reconciliation once it's been posted. Is there a way to import my bank statements into Sage 300? There is a way to do that. I'm going to jump right in here. There is a capability to import OFX statements directly into Sage, and then that would help you with your reconciliation. We would need to work with you and your bank to get the right file type in order to do the import. It's an OFX file type. Some banks don't use OFX anymore, so we'd have to look down that route with you. There's also the capability for e-statements, but a lot of Canadian banks it's not really set up for, so we haven't moved forward with our Canadian customers in linking up to your bank with the reconcile e-statements. There have been there's obviously big security concerns with linking anything to your bank account. So with Canadian banks, there have been, and two-factor authentication, those types of things, there have been some setbacks in getting that up and running, but I'm sure they're working diligently to also get that going down the road. And I believe it is set up with some US bank accounts. I do want to thank everybody for taking the time out of your very busy schedules to learn more about Sage 300 and how you can best utilize the tools within it to streamline your processes. And I want to thank you and say have a wonderful day.